Jain, are you surprised by the reaction of the markets with this bounce back?
I think it's one of the bellwether stocks in the IT sector, and there's nothing negative for, so it's a broad market which is moving up, and I think Infosys being one of the leading stocks is participating in the rally. But if you look at other stocks like ITC, Mahindra & Mahindra, they have moved up by significantly higher, 8% or more than that. So those are the companies that are directly benefited and they moved up more.
What is it that the market is lacking about the budget, Nirmal Jain? Is it the fact that the borrowing program is down significantly, or is it the fact that there's finally some clarity on GST and DTC? What is it that you think the market is lacking in this budget?
As per our calculations this year, FY11 deficit was expected to be 4.6 or 4.7, but Finance Minister has made an announcement as 5.1. So it appears that he's preponing or advancing some of the expenditure of next year to this year, and which will help him give a significantly better number, which is 4.6% in FY12.
Nirmal, quick word on the other thing that the finance minister did, which is leave more money in the hands of the consumer. Given the fact that India is a consumption-driven economy and the fact that inflation is at an all-time high, do you think that was along expected lines and a wise move from the finance minister?
It's a very positive move and very courageous also, and I think this will go a long way, because at this juncture India needs growth to sustain. I mean, there are quite a few experts who say that we can compromise upon growth, but I don't think that will help our inflation directly, because inflation has been more driven by, on one hand, food prices, which are because of supply constraints, and secondly by crude oil prices, which are beyond our control or beyond the control of our monetary or fiscal policies. So in such an environment, it's a very prudent thing to sustain the growth engine, and that in fact will help inflation as well. Because if you see last year, our tax collection has been very much higher than expected, and that is primarily driven by growth momentum. So he's also banking on the taxes to be much higher, driven by growth rather than increasing the rate.
Right. Nirmal Jain, has the finance minister done enough to address the inflation?
If you look at inflation, then if you take out crude oil and food inflation, then there's hardly any increase. In fact, the manufactured goods, which is the larger sector other than crude oil and food, has just inflation numbers around 5%. And these two segments, as I said, that very little can be done with fiscal policies. But as far as food inflation is concerned, finance minister has given infrastructure status to cold storage, and has also promised investment in food processing and transport infrastructure, which is required from medium term, and is not something which can give you a positive result in say 1 year's time, but these are the things which are required, because in Indian context, if 22 to 25% of food is wasted, then these are the measures which will help supply side constraints to ease. But other than that, I think he has done enough to ease liquidity given the circumstances. He has increased FI flow available to infrastructure sector by way of debt. He has also allowed equity to come in through mutual fund. All these are positive factors, and I think no finance minister can have a magic wand to solve inflation problem when it's a global phenomena. But under the circumstances, whatever he has done is quite adequate and welcome.